Miji begins to fight him according to the plan while Shinichi slowly approaches him and stabs him in the chest, getting an artery close to the heart. He loses a lot of blood and he staggers into Tamiya's office. She releases gas into the room and sets it up in fire, blasting away Mr. A as she jumps down. After some days, everything went back to normal and school resumed again. The school officials hold a meeting with Tamiya concerning her baby. They express their feelings about the paternity of the child as they don't know the father of the child. Tamiya gets pissed off and quits the job. Tamiya and Shinichi meet after she leaves and Shinichi asks her what she will do with the baby if she gives birth to it. Tamiya says that she will either use it for experiment or eat it. This infuriates Shinichi but Miji warns him not to engage. Tamiya added that since she has no use for Shinichi she has to kill him. As she powers up to kill him, she notices something in him and calls him impure and changes her mind. Later that night, Tamiya's mother comes to see her because she has been ignoring her calls all these while. Tamiya opens the door and from the way she greeted her she immediately deduced that the woman is her mom. Tamiya tells her that she wants to get something outside but her mother stops her and tells her to look into her eyes. Immediately she looks into her eyes, her mother starts to panic as she knew those eyes were not her daughter's own. She rushes to telephone to call the police then Tamiya kills her. Tamiya is surprised that the woman could easily sense her out. The next morning, Shinichi wakes up and does not find Miji attached to his arm again. He sees Miji in a dog shape and he runs back to attach himself back to Shinichi. Shinichi's mom rushes upstairs to check if he is okay when she hears the scream of Shinichi. He nervously assures her that he is fine. He asks what Miji is doing. Miji makes an observation that he can only stay 3 minutes detached from Shinichi, and he explains further that these creatures could swap heads if their host is injured but the risk of rejection is to be considered when doing this transfer. Shinichi dresses up for school and goes downstairs to join his family for breakfast. His parents discuss with him about going on a trip which Shinichi opposes strongly. His father thinks it is because of the mincemeat murders and he assures him that they will be fine but Shinichi still opposes it and goes out to school. After he leaves, Shinichi's father tries to make his wife feel better. He also talks about the scar she got while saving Shinichi from getting burned by hot oil when he was little. Probably Shinichi feels guilty about it. After school when Shinichi gets home, Miji enlightens him that his patent will be safe where they are going to since it will be at the outskirts of the town. He further explains that these parasites flourish in urban areas due to high population. During the discussion, his mother walks in. Shinichi yells nervously at his mom to go out. Later in the evening, Shinichi comes downstairs and tells his parents that he is okay with them going on a trip. His mother starts to cry saying that Shinichi has changed and refused to tell them anything then. Shinichi is eaten up by guilt but he can't tell them what is going on. So he lies again that he is fine and assures them that he will be good. Later that night, his parents leave for the trip. Tamiya is seen on the top of the building touching her womb as she feels her baby move. A man and woman are traveling in a car. The woman seems to be controlled by the creature. She tries to wear the seat belt but gets it wrong. The man helps her and loses control of the car and they both crash into a tree. The man is saved by the seat belt but the woman sustains critical injuries. The creature in her decides to migrate to the man since he appears to be in better condition. It severs the head of the man and migrates successfully. Shinichi wakes up late and runs to school. He blames Miji for not waking him up earlier for school but he says that he needed the rest. At school, Shinichi remembers what Tamiya said about him not being pure. He asks Miji about his opinion on that. Miji gives an hypothesis that his brain cells may be undergoing few changes because of the fusion between them. Shinichi refuses to believe he is changing. While lost in his thoughts, he jams a bag on the floor and sees that a squad of boys are beating up Nagai. He approaches them and tells them to stop. One of the guys approaches him and beats him up. Shinichi did not give up. He tells them to stop. The head of the Fang beat him up to a pulp. A girl behind them tells the guy to stop. After a while the girl the guy called Kana, walks up to Shinichi on the ground to check if he is okay. As her eyes meet with his, she senses something and becomes scared. In school, Murano is concerned about the bruises on Shinichi's face but he assures her that it is nothing. Some group of guys walk up to him to thank him for helping Nagai from Mitsuo's crew, the group guys Shinichi encountered earlier. When Murano and Shinichi are walking home together after school, Kana stops them and asks when Shinichi didn't run in the morning. Shinichi snobs her and passes. After a while they encounter Mitsuo's crew. The crew takes Murano captive and they beat up Shinichi. Miji tries to intervene but Shinichi stops him. After a while, Kana arrives with Nagai's crew and Mitsuo's crew are completely outnumbered and fighting starts between the two crews while Kana walks home. Murano walks Shinichi home and treats him in his house. She notices that his right arm is clean without any bruises. Shinichi waves it off. After a while, she starts to leave. Shinichi tries to convince her to stay over which Murano declines and goes home. The man who the creatures take over is seen struggling to control the body as it keeps rejecting it. He quickly concludes to look for a female host. Shinichi's mother and father are on top of a hill enjoying the view of the sea when the creature suddenly cuts her head and bonds with her. Later that day Shinichi gets a call from his father concerning his mother, saying he will kill the monster as he cuts the call. Shinichi is troubled, he dreams of his parents and wakes up again. During this, Miji detects another creature near the house. In that anger he takes a kitchen knife and proceeds to the door where he meets his mother who is being controlled by the creature. He froze and acts as if she's normal. Miji keeps trying to jerk him out of it but he threatens to cut Miji off if he makes a move. Suddenly Shinichi's mom strikes his heart brutally and she leaves as he falls to the floor. Miji quickly transfers into his heart to repair it and slowly over days regenerate his arm while feeding him sugar and water using himself as the tube. Murano and Tachikawa are worried when they don't see Shinichi in school anymore. Murano concludes that she is going to go to his house. After a while Shinichi regains consciousness. He stands up and wears his glasses. He discovers that his eyesight is better without the glasses. He walks into the bathroom to clean himself up and notice that his wound has been healed as he wonders if Miji healed him. The phone rings and he picks. It is a call from the hospital regarding his dad. He becomes perplexed and confused. He wails bitterly on the floor as he realizes that his mother is actually dead and it is not a dream. As he walks out of the house, he jams Murano at his doorstep. She asks what is wrong with him but he doesn't seem to pay much attention to her. He calmly tells her that his dad got hurt on the trip he went on. Shinichi travels by sea. He continues to ponder on how the creature got the house address and is worried about the creature getting to his dad. His thoughts are interrupted by his seatmate in the ship. She asks if he is okay because he looks worried. He assures her that he is fine and he asks her if she knows Sakurazaki Hospital, which she confirms positive. At the hospital 2 police officers and the doctor are in Shinichi's dad ward. The officers interrogate him about the death of his wife. He tells them that she was killed by a monster but they don't seem to believe it as the hotel receptionist confirms that his wife was seen on that night of the incident. He is confused because he is so sure of what he saw. Later that night, the young lady from the train brings Shinichi to the hospital and he runs inside to see his dad. His dad denies everything about the monster. This confuses Shinichi as he shouts. He later calms down and drops the clothes he bought for his dad and goes out to sleep in a nearby hotel where he can monitor his dad. The same girl from the train is the one who runs the hotel. She welcomes him and shows him his room. After a few minutes, Shinichi hears the lady's footsteps from a far distance as she approaches his room to tell him about his food. He is amazed that he can sense something so unnatural but is quick to wave it off. Later that night, Miji finally speaks to him about the changes he has seen on his body. Miji tells him that every day he will shut down for 4 hours, completely leaving them open to attacks. Shinichi asks why he is just telling him this. Miji defends himself that he hid everything up to now because he thought Shinichi harbors hate towards his kind now. But Shinichi tells him that he doesn't hate him. The next morning, Shinichi brings some newspaper for his dad in the hospital and stays with him for a while. He then leaves and sits in front of the hospital. The same girl from the hotel comes around and introduces herself as Makiko. As they are discussing, Miji tells Shinichi that he detects another creature 300 meters towards the beach. He gets up and asks Makiko for direction to the beach. She hasn't explained completely before he took off, while Makiko runs after him to explain to him that he will run into a seawall if he takes that way, but he is faster than her. He runs into the seawall and takes a mighty leap and runs angrily towards the creature. Along the way, Miji tells him that he has something to tell him again but Shinichi is too angry to listen to him and tells him to shut up. He reaches the end of the wall and shouts with a mighty rage at the creature not to move. If you want the next part, let me know in the comment below. Remember, subscribe, and set the notification on, so you don't miss the new episodes. Check out other videos on the screen here. Until then, see you on the new video.